See the game more clearly with extra view lenses from Norval Opticians, with £50 off our exclusive freeform frames.
Well, David, round 22 of 22. How do you sort of sum up the previous 21 in a nutshell?
I'm not sure it's time for reflection just yet with what we've still got over the course of the next month, but I suppose just really almost as a summary of the whole season, looking back to the Leicester game, still very fresh in the memory of the events of that game, and almost set the scene for what the season was. Some brilliant rugby, some not so good rugby, and the ups and downs of what has been a pretty tough season. And
7th is still there for you. How important is it that you get that spot to kind of act as an insurance policy against what might happen in Edinburgh?
We've really tried not to talk and consider too much the league table. We've been almost the question's been for the last 4 or 5 months. When you look at the league table, 1 or 2 wins, ups and downs, and for us it's been a case really over the last 5 weeks of taking every single game. It's a cliche, of course it is, but every single game we're trying to get ourselves as prepared as we can, and produce performances better than we produced last weekend.
So just to extend that then, how hard do you go at this game, bearing in mind that you've got an even bigger game the following Friday?
Look, we've always said the next game is the most important game, but we're also, from a management point of view, conscious of the importance of a cup final and the opportunities that may come from that. So we want to go out this weekend. It's a huge game for us. It's our final home game of the season, and we want to go out and respond to what was a disappointing performance last weekend.
Have you assessed that it was an energy level issue in the second half? Is that what it's come down to really, about trying to explain away that second 40 at Bath?
I'm not sure you can explain it in 1 or 2 sentences. It's hard to understand how we went from having such a good performance the week before against the best team in Europe to then producing what probably was one of the most certainly the most disappointing 40 minutes of the season. And there's lots of reasons. You can find lots of excuses if you want to find excuses, but we know it wasn't good enough wearing a Gloucester shirt to come out and really play like that for 20 minutes immediately after half time.
So you finished with Exeter at home. Was it 7 bonus point wins on the trot for them? They're on a really hot streak, aren't they? They're
an outstanding team. They have been for the last couple of seasons. They've had a consistent, their selection's been consistent. You know how they're going to come and play, but they execute their game plan so well. They're very, very hard to control. Look, as I said, our focus again this week has been very much upon recovering on a short turnaround from Bath, but then it's a case of making sure that we have a plan in place that will negate their attacking threat as much as we can, but also make sure that we keep the ball, use the ball, be a much bigger attacking threat than we were last weekend.
Are there any rough edges in Exeter's game at all?
Well, every team's got rough edges, but if you look hard enough, but I think what we all know is that Exeter have so many good points to their game, particularly ball in hand and attack. They pose threats out wide. The style of play is good to watch, but equally I think they're probably the most effective team in the Premiership when they get into your 22, to the ability to power up, the ability to take points every time they come into your 22. So we know we're going to be tested hugely in defence, and that's a challenge that we've got to make sure we rise to.
And just lastly on Exeter, they're going to come hard at it on Saturday, aren't they? Because they don't want to be going away in the playoffs. They need to win in case Saracens go to Watford and win.
The great teams in any sport, the great teams in any competition turn up and perform well every week. We know how good Exeter are, we know how good they've been throughout the course of the season, and we've no doubt that when they turn up this weekend, they'll perform at a very high level. Our challenge is to make sure we can match that.